and empowers you to have uncomfortable conversations on hot topics with people who don't share your same beliefs. Your host, Katrina Esau, Sabrina Protic, Ricky Burney, and Walter Parker. Now let's get ready to have that conversation. Uncomfortable Conversations is powered by the Trendsetter Mentor Group, an exclusive membership for mentorship on Facebook.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a new year with Uncomfortable Conversation. We hope that you've had a safe and happy new year, that the family is safe, and that everyone has a bright horizon ahead of them. We're Uncomfortable Conversation, and we focus on issues that empower, equip, and encourage our listeners and viewers just like you to have those uncomfortable conversations without bias, judgment, and stereotype with people that may not share our same perspectives. We're excited about season 2, and we look forward to having all types of uncomfortable conversations with you, our listeners and viewers. Today's topic is on gender equality in sports. And we want to bring our guest on, Miss Kim Hampton. Good morning, Kim. How are you this morning?
I'm great. How's everyone out there?
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell us how you made it through the new year.
Wow, it was very, very low key. Everyone knows because of the pandemic, they suggested that everyone just pretty much stay in and just try to keep the numbers down. So that's what we did. We went to the grocery store and bought seafood and, just had a lot of our favorite things around and counted in the new year.
Well, I kind of did the same thing. It was actually nice to shelter in place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It gave you time for reflection, time to think, time to meditate, time to be grateful and thankful for yourself and your family. And really, to count 2020 as a blessing for those of us that survived that, right?
Yeah.
So it was really a good time. We are really honored to have you here. You're a retired WBA star. Welcome back. Yes.
WNBA star.
Well, women's basketball. Okay, so you have the NBA as national.
Well, it's because the NBA started the league, so it's WNBA.
Oh, WNBA, women's national.
Yeah, women's national basketball.
Women's national. Was there a time where they said WNBA or was always WNBA?
Never. It was always WNBA.
WNBA. And it's a national.
That could have been another league, but yeah, you don't want to cross the two.
Let's not do that. You've come too far for that.
What?
That's right. So for those of you who are not basketball fans, Kim completed a 15-year professional basketball career with the WNBA, with the New York Liberty team in Spain, Italy, France, and Japan. Kim shared with us on our last show that the transition was natural for her because the world has always been her stage. And she says that with a bright face even now. Kim is a graduate of Arizona State, and she received her bachelor's degree in theater, but will go down in the university's history book as one of the most decorated hoop players to wear the Sun Devil jersey. Now, so Kim, during your WNBA career, and since then, you've become a plus size model in fashion as well as in cosmetics. You're an original CoverGirl collection model featured in a nationwide commercial. You have founded, there you are. Beautiful picture. Beautiful model picture there. I saw that, and that's just glam. That's total glam to me. That doesn't look like a basketball star. So let's say you were also in Glamour and Essence magazine and other magazines. You've worked with photographers like Francisco Scavales and Daniel Green. You've also been a spokesman for the WNBA, New York Liberty, and New York Knicks. Kim, you lived one dream through the basketball and then pursuing other things in the world and entertainment. So welcome back, Kim. We kind of talked last week more about your basketball career. And so today we're going to delve into some other things. And when we come back, we're going to have more of that one-on-one dialogue and interview with you. We're going to go to break real quick.
Awesome.
It was great because, and then too, because it was new. So it was even bigger then than it is, than I think it is now because, even the guys in there, because it was on TV all the time and, the commercials building up to it. We got next, the whole marketing campaign surrounding it. It was just, it was just amazing. So, and it was just amazing to be the first, again, me and Lisa Leslie did the first ever jump ball, because LA and New York were the first two teams to play. And we played on CBS, national television. The world was watching and it was just amazing. It's an ongoing process. It's been kind of tough and it kind of ebbs and flows, because I've had a job in corporate America working in the front office with the New York Liberty. But for me, I find that that's not where my passion lies. So I think it's finding your passion, and then trying to earn, and then earning a living at doing what it is that you love to do, what it is that you want to do versus just having to have a job just to survive. And so that's been the tough part for me. Just, really trying to monetize, doing the things that I love to do. So it's an ongoing transitional part,
Uncomfortable Conversations Talk Radio is sponsored by the Trendsetter Mentor Group, an exclusive membership for mentorship. You can follow all our hosts on Facebook. Search Trendsetter Mentor Group and join. Now back to the show.
Welcome back, Kim. So we're going to continue our conversation with Kim Hampton, WNBA star, and her love and passion for not only the game, but also music, acting, fashion, and yes, gender pay equality in sports. We kind of touched a little bit on that last week. So welcome back. Now, we covered your basketball career last week. Can you share with us, kind of bridge us into this show, how you have been able to transition from that public figure and into basketball? And we got one of our show hosts, Ricky Burney, joining us. Share with us, Kim, that whole transition period.
Excuse me, you said transition from basketball into that public figure or the reverse?
Yes, no, transition from your career in basketball. We know you've done some things. We know you've done the modeling. We know you've done the singing. But how has that, professionals, when they retire, they actually start a new life. So what is that transition period like, that moving into a new space, and kind of walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, coming out of, first and foremost, coming off of playing in the WNBA, and I have to make a correction. I had a 15-year professional basketball career, excuse me, but 12 of those years were played abroad in Spain, Italy, France, and Japan. Only 3 of those seasons were in the WNBA. So I was pretty much at the end of my career when the WNBA started, but I was still a top player, and I was drafted in the elite draft to play in the WNBA. So I played the first 3 seasons, and then all of a sudden I just started having some wear and tear on my right knee. And then ultimately I had to retire after 3 seasons. So that was pretty tough for me because, it was just like one day you're going in to practice and you're a part of a team, and then the next day you're retired and you have all of this free time on your hands. And You don't know what to do with it. And you're no longer a part of this nucleus, this team. And that's what I have been doing for the last 23 years of my life. And so it was very
Wow.
difficult emotionally, number one, and it physically, mentally, everything, because you form habits. And so it was just extremely difficult on that level. And then I think, and then trying to really, then all of a sudden, you talk about what you want to do after life, but when you're actually faced with it and having to do it, having to put those things into motion, that was kind of scary too. So it was tough. It was tough trying to figure it out.
What was that time frame like? So you had the knee thing going on, you retired, and you went through those mental and emotional adjustments. What does that time frame look like?
Well, I mean, it was right then when it was happening, but I mean, it continued. I think it continued for, I mean, for years. I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm a functioning depressed person, just going through the motions, doing appearances, doing events, and things like that. But still, just, I think I never got a chance to feel and mourn the fact that I was no longer an athlete. I think that was probably, and that went on for years. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of just starting to come out of it, or just really understanding it, and that I'm just ready to move on away from it. I don't have the, I guess, the nagging pain that I used to have. I think the first 5 years after I retired was the worst. Watching Liberty games, and I'm yelling at my teammates on what to do as if I was on the court next to them, playing with them. So I don't have that anymore. But still, it's figuring out again who I am as I continue to evolve.
And I'm aware that I know military people go through that. They're in the military and they have to acclimate to civilian life. And it's very difficult for a lot of them, to do that. It's a whole different everything, especially if you were ranked, military, and you come out and nobody really knows. They don't really know you. And the strides that you made in your life. So as we look at your life and hear your story, we can kind of see that same thing. It's like civilian life now. And what do you do? And in your case, yours wasn't a planned retirement. So you didn't have time to get mentally adjusted, right? That was what was going to happen.
Exactly. That's it. You hit it.
Yeah. So it just kind of fell on you. So now you had to reinvent yourself, and which you've dominated some of those. What was that like, reinventing yourself as you made choices and what you were going to do? Can you kind of share with us about that?
Yeah, it was awesome to have had such a large platform playing in the start of the WNBA. So I got a lot of opportunities. How I ended up being a plus size model, signing with Click first, Click Models of New York, and then Wilhelmina. I happened to have been at a party, at a function that I went to. We always got invited to all of these celebrity events, and this woman walked up to me and says, "Oh my goodness, you are gorgeous. Are you model?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "But I want to." And so she was like, "Oh my goodness." She was like, "Take my card." My name is Chris. And we ended up talking the whole night. She happened to have been the booker for Click Models at that time, and I ended up signing with Click Models, and I got a Lane Bryant gig. My first gig was being one of the original V girls with Lane Bryant when they were launching their Venezia line, and so that was really, really cool because I was with Mia Tyler, sorry, and I'm just some really heavy hitters, and so it was just a huge campaign, and I was just like, for 3 hours worth of work, and it was like $40,000 of my that I kept. The agency got their cut, but I was kind of like, yes, I can definitely do this. And so that's how that kind of happened. And so that was the blessing of playing in the WNBA, because it kind of made transition a little bit easier. I had tons of speaking engagements, and again, just celebrity events to attend. So it gave me time to kind of think about what I truly wanted to do. Um, so that was the beauty of it.
Well, that kind of, I guess it was meant to be, because that kind of fell into place,
Yeah.
right? You're going through this thing, and that was kind of a beautiful, unplanned transition. So that really just kind of shifted quite nicely.
Yeah.
Let's kind of go back a little bit. You've been interviewed by hundreds of people during your career. What was one of the most uncomfortable conversations and questions that you can think of, or maybe even your favorite? Everybody has had that moment. So can you share with us a moment?
Of course. I mean, some of the most uncomfortable would be like when we lost the championship the first time. Excuse me. It was live on CBS, and we had just lost. And so the interviewer came right to me because I was like the leading scorer that day, and so, he was like, Kim, I know it was tough. And I think I even cried on, so, I was like, it was really tough, so that was really uncomfortable. Just, that interview. And I think all interviews about losing and things like that, those are the uncomfortable ones. And then of course, and then the happy ones are the ones when you're winning and when you're doing certain things and when life works out. I mean, an interview is kind of like descriptive of life. We love talking about all of the good times, and it's pretty uncomfortable when we have to experience the bad times.
Yeah, I've seen those locker room pictures, and I've seen everybody jump for joy, and then I've seen heads down, and then imagine having to give an interview, one-on-one after that. What do you say? So I imagine those are some of the moments, that you don't forget those, the sweet victory, and right.
Yeah. I mean, the sting on them dies down, like everything. Time heals pretty much everything. The sting on them, it dies down, but yeah, you don't forget them.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing that. So you mentioned that playing overseas opened your eyes to your passion and your purpose. Can you share one of those? I got your moments with some of your overseas experiences and, doing that stint.
Yeah, I think, I want to say, I mean, gosh, I've had so many. I'm just, I think, okay, so really, getting to know my teammates and embracing the culture. So I would actually hang out with my teammates. I would go to their homes for lunch, for dinner. We would actually go out and hang. I think some of those, excuse me, excuse me. Oh my goodness.
Nothing that water can't help, right?
Or hot tea.
All right. Yes, I love my tea.
All right. I think in embracing just the culture, it gave me a sense of family, because I know a lot of foreign players that went over there, especially not speaking of the American. They felt alone because they didn't really get out, didn't really experience the culture. So that helped me out a lot. It also helped me with languages. And it was just, those were just some of the wonderful warm times that I really experienced. And I even learned things like the Europeans, they have there's a term that says, the Europeans, they work to live and Americans live to work. Because they really enjoy family, they enjoy time. They, everything is just like, okay, it's relaxed, it's going to get done. We're going to get it done. America is like, hurry up, come on, let's get it. Like when I first got there, when I first got to Spain, I called myself going to the post office at like maybe like 1:12 or 1 o'clock, something like that, and the post office was closed. I'm like, closed? And it was going to open back up at 4. I'm like, what? So it's just so crazy. Things close at like 12 or and open back up at 4 in the evening until like 8. And so I was just like, are you kidding me? I was like, oh my goodness. And so just having to learn to adjust, I think, to a calmer lifestyle, less stressful lifestyle. That was one of the wonderful moments and memories that I have, and just how they appreciate family, how mealtime isn't just throwing some food down and just, and moving and running and multitasking while you're eating. No, it's sitting down. It's having conversation over meals. It's the love that goes into the preparation of the meals. It's truly family time. So those were some of the most wonderful times of my life. And and the things that I thought was important to bring back and to um, utilize in my life while living here. And so every now and then I have to reflect on those things. And I still keep in touch with quite a few of my former teammates or my trainer and things like that. So it's just really been wonderful. And then I would have to say, getting the opportunity to sing professionally for the first time, because every Sunday when I was playing in Italy, Pavia, Italy, I got a chance to sing in this club named Insomnia, and every Sunday night, and it was awesome. So it gave me that stage presence away from home, and and I felt more free, because us as Americans, when you talk about music, and us especially as African Americans, I mean, we are the toughest judges. If you're going to sing, I mean, if you say you can sing, you better be able to sing. And so over there, if you have a pretty decent voice, they're so accepting. And so that was just such a blessing to blend in, although I could sing, but still stage fright is real. And so it gave me that opportunity to blend. So that was another wonderful and major moment that I'll always cherish about living in Europe and Italy as well.
I hear quality of life. I hear opportunity. I hear change. I hear value. And oftentimes when I hear people, I ask, share your experiences abroad. It could be all kinds of things. Well, I own this and I was able to acquire that. But what I'm hearing for you is deep appreciation and gratitude, and a learned experience and an appreciation of gratitude and opportunities. So that was phenomenal, just to hear that and hear you express that those are your takeaways and that you still remember them, that they're still impactful to you. So now let's kind of ask you another question. You played at your highest level of sports during your 15 years, which included your 3 and your 12, but you were at the peak. Who were some of your mentors on and off the court that inspired you to be the best and the most that you are?
Wow. I would have to say, okay, my grandmother off the court, I would have to say, yeah, my grandmother off the court, she was always the one that talked about working hard and not crying over spilled milk and what are you going to do now? So it was those lessons that when the going got tough, you're just going to have to roll your sleeves up and get tough with the going. And so I would have to say that she was was definitely my off court influence. And on court, I mean, it was tough because, again, women's basketball had just started in America. Not just started, but I mean professionally. So it wasn't like the boys. The boys always grew up. I mean, there was an NBA. Like when I was born, there was an NBA. And so it was very difficult. Of course, I knew that there were players out there, women players that I played against and I played with, and some of those were great. So a lot of my mentors were men. I would have to say men that played my position. I liked players like in my professional years, I picked the number 34 because I liked the forwards and the centers that wore 34, like Charles Barkley, Akeem Olajuwon. And really, I would probably say Akeem Olajuwon because I liked the fact that he had great footwork. He was mobile, and things like that. I loved what Charles Barkley did, Shaq, and players like that. So I would have to say that I looked, and then back in the day, like Moses Malone and people like that. So,
Girl, you naming some names, you dropping some names of some people I know. those were the icons in my days when I was, growing up and watching the greats, and there Barkley was, dominating the courts. And yeah, and he had a lot of great insight. Still does, he still does a little radio or a show or whatever. He's still out there voicing himself. But yeah, I can see how that would be great and impactful to you as a player. I mean, you were right up there yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I want to bring in Ricky Burney if he's available. And I think he wanted to ask you a few questions. This is Ricky Burney. I don't think you've met him. He is actually the man. We call him the man, DA, the man of the show. And he's gonna take an opportunity here to get to know you a little bit better and ask you a few questions.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show, Kim. Great to meet you. I want to get back to you talking about music, because you stated that you are a musician, and me being a millennial, I'll be honest with you, I did some research. I went on YouTube, I went on your Instagram just to kind of hear what you have to offer. And I'll be honest, you are amazing. Just as great as you are with the WNBA, you're just as great as singing, and you don't see that very often. There's many jack of all trades who do things okay, but you're a master of many. So I just want to know, where did you get the ability to be able to craft both of those skills? How did you craft the skill of both basketball as well as being a world-renowned vocalist?
Well, actually, singing was my first love. I can remember a story. My brother and I were happened to have been at my grandmother's house, and we were always playing. My brother, he's graduated. He has a degree in constructional engineering, and then he went back and got a master's in hotel restaurant management. I mean, like, he has all of these different degrees, so he always loved school. For me, I was always more artistic, and my grandmother said, I never will forget one time you guys were playing. You were about 6 and 7 maybe, and Courtney's like, okay, so come on, we're gonna play school. And you said, I don't want to play school. I don't want to play school. And he had this look on his face like, well, what do you want to play? I'm going to be the singer, and you're going to sit there and be my audience. And I had this brush, and I was singing a Natalie Cole song, and I was giving it to him. And my grandmother said she fell over on the counter laughing. And so, when growing up, my parents, they would always have that. Well, they wouldn't always have, but they had get-togethers, or we would be over someone's house. And I remember, like when Aretha Franklin came out with "Ain't No Way for Me to Love You," when she came out with that, and stuff. And I would kill that song as a 5-year-old or whatever it was. And so we would always listen to records, and just Karen Carpenter and Dionne Warwick. And I just love the smooth, rich, Nancy Wilson, all of that. I felt that, I got that. And so I have a really good ear for music and learning languages and things like that. And so it was something that I did always, but I was always shy. And so when sports came into play during my high school years, it kind of, I put it on the back burner, but all of my teammates would know that I could sing. It was something that I always did. And thank God when karaoke came along, that was what actually broke me out to start singing publicly. And I remember I would wait it out, and I would be so nervous in front of all of those people who couldn't sing, singing karaoke. And it was just crazy. So it was something that I always wanted to do. And it was something that I had worked on all of my life. And it was kind of horrible when I sang, because it's still like 8:30 in the morning here, 8:30 a.m. And so, I haven't sang in a while, but I mean, not a while, but yeah.
Nonsense. That was amazing. And listeners, just to let you know, she's covered Nancy Wilson. Now, if someone covers Nancy Wilson, they have to have the chops to do that. And she shared the stage with R&B greats like Allison Williams. So being able to do that, that should show you the caliber of what we're listening to right now. Now, with that being said, we all know that music is an art. And in art, it should be organic. However, being in the music industry, we also know that it is very manufactured. Tell me about the ability for you to maintain an organic, authentic sense of self and appearance and voice when there might have been some pressure to conform to industry standards.
Yeah, I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't jump at every opportunity that I could have had to record. I never will forget, and off the record, you and I can let you listen. I covered the song Sunshine by Roy Ayers with Roy Ayers. He asked me, he was like, hey, would you like to try and cover this? And so I was like, yeah. And so I remember him telling me, oh my gosh, nobody's ever done it like that. And so he wanted to do a project. But again, it felt rushed. It just didn't feel right. And I'm a person that it just has to feel right for me. People, it has to feel right. Everything has to feel right. And so I was like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready, and things like that. So the opportunity, of course, passed. But I've just been that person where I'm not going to just go out and do anything. I'm not selling my soul to the devil just to have, just to maybe have fame or to have, because I've heard so many stories in the industry. My cousin, Vicki Hampton, is a prominent background singer in Nashville. I mean, she's on tour. Well, they're not on tour right now, but she's been on tour with Garth Brooks and Dolly Parton and Wynonna Judd. And I mean, Faith Hill, excuse me. Faith Hill. I said Faith Evans. My goodness. Okay. I mean, just with so many country greats, and she started out with Millie Jackson, and she was the reason that I met Phyllis Hyman, which was one of my all-time favorites. And I always looked at those people like the Nancy Wilsons, and the thing that I loved about them the most is they had grace and they had style, and that was always important to me. So I don't know. I think. And maybe it could have been a little bit of that being shy, not wanting to step out and make a fool of myself too. So I think it was a lot of things into it, but I just kind of know who I am. I'm not that person to be singing about your baby mama and the baby drama, and so I just try to stay, try to stay true to who I am. And that's what prompted me to do. I've been doing a tribute for the last year. I've been doing this tribute to Nancy Wilson and just going through her, she recorded over 70 books, listening to the interviews on YouTube, just reading articles about who she was. And, it was just amazing. And then just listening to how she sang a song, it's something. I mean, you listen to music then, and why is it timeless? It's because they truly studied the art of music. They were truly artists. It wasn't just about singing lyrics and looking good and dancing and everything being on point. You felt each lyric that they sang. And so it's just been amazing to hear that and to sing those songs and to really get into that song or get into, it's just been truly amazing. So I know I went off on a long tangent, but
no, that was amazing. That was amazing. And for the listeners, we actually have a small clip that we would like to play of your amazing voice. Is that okay if we share that?
Go over that with me, but okay. Come on, Ricky, now, you got to have stuff cleared. No. Uh-oh.
For Kim. Thank you. This is a diva here. I know you could sing because you look like you could sing. So go ahead and sing, girl.
So John Starks, this is for you since you dared me. It's quiet as it's been all night. Look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. Feel like I'm clinging to a cloud. I can't understand. I get misty holding your hands. Walk my way, and 1,000 violins began to play. Or could it be the sound of your hello? This music I hear, I get misty the moment you're near. and say that you're leading me on, but it's just what I want you to do. Don't you notice how hopelessly I'm lost? That's why I'm following you. On my own. Shall I wander through this wonderland all alone, never knowing my right foot from my left, or my hat from my glove? I get misty and I'm too much in love. I get misty and I'm too much in love. I just want to say, continue to give to the Harlem Dowlings. We from Madison Square Garden, from the bottom of our hearts, like Hank said, we love everything that we do for you, and just give, give, give. Thank you.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. And what I really love about your voice is that it's very pretty, but at the same time, it has emotional depth to it. You know, you can feel every single lyric as you emote with your voice. So just amazing. With that being said, do you see yourself in the future putting out your own content, creating like an album? Are you currently writing any music right now?
I definitely am. Right now, I am not writing any music, but I just connected with some producers at this particular studio. And then I also have another friend that I'm able to record. And so we are going to be working on a project together. And so right now, it sounds so weird, but again, I just feel that age appropriateness is right. And then I wonder about being put into a particular box, because although I love jazz, I really, really love jazz, but I love music. I love R&B. I love, I love gospel. And it's not that I'm a gospel singer, so don't get me wrong, because those, I've never been one of those, one of those, people, because that's just a whole different realm. They make me look like, I'm sitting watching them like, whoo, Lord, running all over the place. But I need to, for me, again, I talked about feeling. I need to find a team, like people, producers that are in musicians that bring out different things, because they always say different people bring out different things in you. And so for me, it's before I record, because it's so tricky when you record something and release it. The industry, the world is going to put you in that box. They're going to say, it's kind of like Brian McKnight. When he first came out as a balladeer. And then, he tried to go in the more, poppy realm, but no one believed him. So, it's just weird. So those are the things that I'm concerned about, but I am getting ready to start recording. I love this Nancy Wilson tour. It definitely got cut short with the COVID thing, but I want to tour that. So I know that you guys are in many countries, and so I would love to come to your country and to work my magic over there, because I think she passed. I think the world needs to just be reminded of the wonderful music and the artistry that artists like Nancy Wilson were about. And so Yeah, more is definitely coming. I'm going to definitely be recording some original stuff as well.
Absolutely. And with that being said as well, you have, in my opinion, you have successfully transitioned from one career to the next. And sometimes athletes, or even if it's a singer who tries to get into acting, a lot of times they have a hard time transitioning because people want to, as you stated, keep them in that box. So what would you say allowed you to be able to successfully find the confidence to be able to transition from being a WNBA star to a vocalist, a songstress?
I think that burning passion and desire from being a kid. Again, it was my first love. And so although I put it on the back burner, it was just a fire that just never died in me. And it was something that I always did. And it was something that I've always wanted to do. So I think that's just been the driving force within me that keeps me singing, and that makes me want to continue to sing. And yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And a prime example of who you're talking about, look at Jamie Foxx. I mean, we all see him as a comedian, as an actor, an amazing comedian, amazing actor. But oh my God, he is an amazing pianist. I mean, he plays, the piano incredibly well, and he is an incredible singer. And why the world won't see him as that and allow him to have that as well, I just completely don't understand it. And there's so many more.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a very quick sponsor break, and we're going to talk about another area that you have been able to successfully venture into, which is the fashion world.
Okay.
All right, and we are back to Uncomfortable Conversations, and I'm going to bring in my co-host, Sabrina Prodick, and she will talk to you a little bit about you in the fashion world.
Yes, thank you so much, Ricky. I so enjoyed listening to that song, by the way. I got a little touched, and I noticed you got a little touched too, Kim. Kind of brought back some memories, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Great. That was beautiful. Beautiful. But let's kind of go a little bit more into some things we talked about with your basketball career. And you mentioned growing up was kind of a struggle, your confidence with your height. Here you were, this tall girl, tall girls have it all. So share with our viewers some of the stereotyping that you probably had to deal with and overcome, both in business and your personal life.
Well, definitely growing up, I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and excuse me. And it was tough because, again, I was always taller than my peers. I think in the fourth grade, I was like 5'4", just really tall. And I grew up in a family with beautiful people. I mean, men and women, just beautiful people. But on the father's side, the majority of the people were light skinned, and and everyone was. I mean, beautiful too, and so it was just tough. I felt like I was this really tall duckling, growing up all the time, and so that and what the '60s in the South did, getting over that, getting through that light skin, dark skin thing. And then not understanding my size and my height. When I was 10, I wore size 10 shoes. When I was 12, I wore size 12. And that's when I started praying, God, please don't let me wear a 13 when I'm 13. But it was just an adjustment, but things started to click a little bit more when I became an athlete. But a lot of that, you still carry that. You just kind of learn to cover it up when you have things that allow you to shine. But what I've learned as an adult, you still need to go back and tend to that stuff, because it's going to come out in some way, some fashion, some form later on in life. Maybe it's through relationships. Maybe it's through, like, I remember I didn't try out for the Olympic team my senior year because I started letting all of this other stuff, all of these doubts. Well, I didn't go to this school, or I didn't go to that school, or, they usually already have the team picked, or I had all of this stuff and I just should have went. And one of my best friends, Pamela McGee, who happens, she is one of the McGee twins that played at USC, and her son is JaVale McGee, who plays in the NBA. She and I said, okay, we're going to go because we were best friends at the time. And she went, and I decided to go represent the United States in China and play on a team, and didn't go to the tryouts. And I kept hearing, because my coach played on the 76 Olympics, she was giving me feedback. And they said Pam McGee is playing out of her head, because she's talking to the coaches there and things like that. And I was like, God, I should have went because we would have been that, that crutch, that support for each other, during that time. And so, I kick myself to this day, but I attribute that to all of that growing up, just not having, that support. I think as a kid, talking about, okay, so you might be dark skinned. Okay, it's cool. Or okay, you're, whatever it is. So, that's just been some of the stuff, and, and the things that, that I attribute, to just my life, and the things that I've learned, and the things that I'm coming through, and that I've, with life, because life, you never ever get it. You never just like, okay, everything's perfect. Okay, I got the lesson. No, I mean, it's you get through one thing, and then there's going to be something else, and it could be something else good. It could be something, but life is about change. Life is about evolution. Nothing ever stays the same. Last second, your body, your cells were different. They say your cells reproduce themselves every 2 months or something like that. So everything is always changing. Everything is always moving. So, it's wonderful to be aware and to keep evolving.
I'm 5'2", and you were 5'4" when you were in 4th grade. I mean,
I'm sorry, I missed it. You were. I don't know if you were muted the first part of that. What you just said.
I said I'm 5'2", and
Okay.
you were 5'4" when you were in 4th grade. I think you said. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm trying to put a perspective on your world and what you had to deal with, and your height and those adjustments, and so that's pulling all that into perspective. If people wonder, the size of your shoe, did you ever get to a size 13?
Well, I now kind of, as you get older, I can wear 12, 13, depending on the way the shoe is cut, and things like that. So, yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit. You had a daughter, right? A child. Pull that into perspective for us a little bit. How did that coincide with your life, your career? Can you share that with us for a minute?
Yeah. It makes me remember and reflect back on when I was a child, because she you just made me remember what time is it, because her school starts at 9:15, and I was like,
8 minutes.
No, but it like the things that she doubts herself. For example, she happens to be light skinned. Her dad and I are the same complexion, so she grew up very tall, very fast, and so now she stopped. I won't say she's yet. We're hoping for a growth spurt, but she's 5'8", and she's a junior in high school. But she is incredibly smart, intelligent. She has a great personality. And I'm not just saying this stuff because I'm a mom, but it's true. And then she is an incredible athlete. I mean, just like whoa. And she has all of these schools, including her and everything. But I noticed too that she goes through moments of doubting and being shy. And, And I always talk to her about just do your best. Don't worry about being good because being good gives you a lot of pressure. Just show up and give your best every day, and let the rest take care of itself. Sometimes our best is going to be good enough, and sometimes it's not because in life we're not going to win at everything. I talked to her about school. Sometimes school is extremely boring for her, and it's kind of like, and I'm just like, just do it, just do it, and do it to the best of your ability. Why make mediocre grades when you can really ball out and make great grades? Those are some of the things that we're going through. Me just being that voice to tell her, gosh, you're beautiful the way you are. I don't care. I don't care if you this, that, and that. It's not. It's you owning it and believing it because you're a trendsetter. And so I'm just pouring in on her the things that were not poured into me, and just hopefully that she can grasp it. Because those things are so important, especially for young people.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, because that's a part of life that, we wouldn't know that professional players have to go through. And then there's family life. Yeah. We're going to take a little break, Kim, and we come back. We'll wrap this up with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Kim Hampton, and I'm a former WNBA player with the New York Liberty. I had a 12-and-a-half-year EuroLeague career, and I am also a supporter of Champions for America's Future. Sports and athletics has always been more than just a game for me. And throughout my 24-year playing career, I've realized there are so many lessons that I've learned that not only helped me maximize my athletic career, but also I'm finding that it helps me as I transition, or as I've transitioned from athletics and into the regular world, and constantly trying to reinvent myself. I am currently a motivational speaker. I am a professional singer, a plus-size model, and I work in community relations. And for me, learning to direct my own path of learning to understand who I am, and having to be honest with myself to assess my weaknesses and come up with a plan to learn and to help myself move in the direction that I would like to go is super important. And it can be very tough because we have a natural tendency to always gravitate to what we're good at. But when you're out of your comfort zone, which sports was always my comfort zone, when you're out of your comfort zone, it behooves you to really learn how to face the fears that you have and learn to do things outside of your comfort zone. So I really hope that you push yourselves and you step outside your comfort zone and learn to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And I hope you continue to support Champions for America's Future. Thank you.
All right, welcome back to Uncomfortable Conversations, and we are wrapping up the show today with our guest, NBA legend, songstress, motivational speaker, and plus-size model, Kim Hampton. Kim, it has been a pleasure having you on this show. And with everything that you have done, you have been in industries that are typically male-dominated. Not necessarily just in representation, because there is female representation in all of these industries, but as far as being in power, most of these industries are very male dominated.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be seen in the fact that there is inequality in the pay, in especially the WNBA. In the United States, the top paid from the research shows that it's $107,000 when you see male NBA players who are making millions of dollars. So with that being said, there might be some young girl today, or it might even be some girl who may not necessarily want to be in the WNBA, but who's looking to be in certain industries, but she may be discouraged by seeing data like that, seeing that there's inequality. What advice would you give to these young girls? Because I know you do motivational speaking with children a lot. What advice do you give to them to continue to push forward and to see how to possibly fight to gain the equality in all aspects?
I would definitely have to say that patience and being your best you are the two things that you can do right now. And that's controlling your controllables, being patient with time. Because when you think about the NBA is almost 100 years in existence. And they really didn't start making any money, players, until the 90s, maybe. So I would have to say that in the WNBA is in its 26th season, this upcoming season. So it's going to take some patience. But the more you can control the quality of your play and who you are, I think if each person takes that on, if each person, and I always feel like too that the WNBA has to be marketed very differently, because there are two different leagues, the NBA, the WNBA, two different leagues, two different mindsets. One is here, it's global, it's spectacular, it's always trying to find the man, the best player, who's the next Michael Jordan. And then you have the women's league who is here, but it's still very young, because there are women that are dunking, and you will definitely see that. But because we play below the rim, the defense is a lot better. And most women don't have the strength just to cross over, like I was saying, and then go down and just rise up over somebody and dunk on them yet, and stuff. And so you have so many variables. But when you're an incredible shooter, when you're an incredible passer, when there are a few turnovers in the game and the game just looks great, I mean, that is super important. So I think I would just encourage girls and everyone, even females that are playing now, just work to be your best self, be in great shape, study the game, be a student of the game, have a great personality, and be cool with fans, and give back to people coming after you, and the young kids that are playing. And that's controlling your controllables, and that helps in the whole scheme of marketing and the whole scheme. And I think if we do those things collectively, I think that it's gonna fall into place. It's gonna have its time, because you think back to 20 years of the NBA. I mean, if you do some research, they weren't making any money, and it was kind of like a hobby league almost. It wasn't considered a true professional league where you could just earn a super living, especially not like now. So it's going to take some time, and it's going to take some effort on all parts. The league, the fans are going to have to be more patient. They're going to have to buy in when it's on television. They're going to have to watch. They're going to have to buy season tickets. All of those things play a part in being able to elevate the salaries and to just elevate the opportunity for women.
Absolutely. And what I hear from that is that you have to stay consistent and true to your brand, and have a brand that connects with the people so that they can grow with you in the process. So thank you so much for being on the show. Before we leave, just wanted to give you the opportunity to let the viewers know where they can stay connected with you in case they want to support all the numerous ventures that you have.
Hi, okay, well, great. So as you all know, my name is Kim Hampton, but that's spelled with a Y, so it's Kym Hampton. And you can find me on Instagram. I am Kim Hampton. You can find me on Twitter, Kim Hampton, at Kim Hampton. You can find me on Facebook, Kim Hampton. So everything is Kim Hampton.
Perfect. Thank you again.
And also I am a motivational speaker. So I mean, it's something that I'm passionate about and something that I really, really love. So if you feel inclined, and you can also reach out to me at info@kimhampton.com. So info@kimhampton.com. And you can reach me there as well.
All right, you all heard it here first. And as you know, she's not a person that just talks the talk as a motivational speaker. She walks the walk. Her excellence transcends across numerous industries. So that tells you the type of caliber that you would have. Thank everyone for tuning in again to Uncomfortable Conversations. Thank you, Sabrina, for being here and always being the trooper that binds us together. I will see you all next week and have that uncomfortable conversation with whoever. Have a good one.
Thank you.